Adjective phrases. A structure of adjective phrases. Just as nouns and verbs function as the heads of noun phrases and verb phrases, adjectives function as the head of adjective phrases. An adjective phrase consists minimally of an adjective acting as head. The head may be accompanied by modifiers and complements. The structure of adjective phrases. Example: she has a lovely apartment. Structure: head only. It's a rather unfortunate name, isn't it? Structure: pre-modifier plus head. Shall we see if that's big enough? Head plus post modifier. She's advanced for her age. Head plus post modifier. Are you willing to volunteer? Head plus complement. He was very keen on sort and nature. Pre-modifier plus head plus complement. I am really sure that I can advise you. Pre-modifier plus head plus complement. Some adjective phrases have more complex structures than others. In particular, there are phrases which are split into two parts. Discontinuous adjective phrases. These are pre-modification and post-modification of adjectives. The most typical pre-modifiers of adjectives are adverb phrases expressing degree. I was pretty upset at the time. The most typical pre-modifiers of adjective. There is upset. That's an extremely good camera. I think my jeans are a bit damp. The major exception is the degree adverb in enough, which is a post modifier. For example, it's not long enough. You cannot say it's not enough long. Adverbs other than adverbs of degree may also pre-modify adjectives. The house was unusually silent that day. It was wonderfully peaceful at Delhi. I don't know how seriously ill they are. Pre-modification and gradability. Most everyday adjectives are gradable. For example, they denote qualities, properties, states, conditions, relations, etc., which vary in their degree or extent. Gradable adjectives can be pre-modified by degree expressions, usually adverb phrases, which specify a different degree of the feature in question. Pre-modification of gradable adjectives. His example, he's very tall. He's fairly tall. He's this tall. This tall would be typically spoken with the gesture indicating a specific height. I didn't realize he was that tall. That tall might refer to a statement made by someone about someone's height or to the moment of seeing someone very tall. He is over 2 meters tall. Over 2 meters is a noun phrase. Certain adjectives expressing numerically measurable properties may be modified by such noun phrases. For example, she is 10 years old. The wood is 2 centimeters thick. You are 10 minutes late. Another example is he is so tall that he can touch the ceiling. Or he is too tall to drive. Some degree adverbs such as so, to, as need a complement to complete their meaning. The complement may be a clause or a phrase. It occurs after the head adjective. The structure is discontinuous. Another example is he is as tall as his father. The comparative with as, tall as, and the suffix er have the same function of specifying degree as the various pre-modifiers. The structure with as is discontinuous. How tall is he? How tall he is. Interrogative how is used to ask questions or to utter exclamations about degree, but with an important difference in word structure. Non-gradable adjectives cannot normally be pre-modified in these ways. Non-gradable adjectives include automatic, did, alive, female, male, Irish, Brazilian, Thai, etc. Married, unmarried, single. This cat is mad. You cannot say this cat is more male than that cat. Sorry, this cat is male, not mad. This cat is male. This cat is, you cannot say this cat is more male than that cat. This plant is dead. You cannot say this plant is rather dead. Gradable opposites or antonyms. Open-ended. The most common gradable adjectives occur as pairs of antonyms that denote the upper and lower parts of an open-ended scale, like tall, short, hot, cold. There are no maximum and minimum points on such a scale. Therefore, adjectives of this kind may not be pre-modified by degree adverbs, including totality, such as completely, absolutely, entirely, utterly, totally, wholly. For example, it's going to be an extremely small stadium. You cannot say it's going to be a totally small stadium. I think it's a very beautiful statue. You cannot say I think it's a completely beautiful statue. Maximum and minimum. Some other gradable adjectives can denote properties on scales which have a maximum and or minimum value. For example, full, empty, possible, impossible. Such adjectives can be pre-modified using degree adverbs like absolutely, completely, entirely, totally, utterly, and other synonyms. For example, it was absolutely full with families with kids. He is completely blind, So it's utterly impossible, isn't it? Other degree adverbs which can pre-modify gradable adjectives of this second type include almost, barely, have, scarcely. Talking about the color of water coming out of a tap. When it comes out, it looks almost white, I realized I was half naked and fumbled with the buttons of my pajamas jacket. Quite. The degree adverb quite means fairly. To some extent, when it pre-modifies gradable adjectives which occur on open-ended scales, but means absolutely when it pre-modifies gradable adjectives which occur on a scale which has a maximum and or minimum value. For example, she is quite tall for her age, isn't she? Here quite means fairly. You were quite right to refuse to pay. Here it means absolutely. Cross classification of gradable and non-gradable adjectives. Although adjectives can generally be classified as gradable or non-gradable, they can be used often with the shift in meaning or connotation as if they were members of the other class. For example, if an adjective normally classified as non-gradable is pre-modified as if it were gradable, it is usually interpreted non-literally. For example, they were all being very Scottish. Probably interpreted as behaving in an exaggeratedly or stereotypically Scottish manner. Similarly, gradable adjectives can be treated as if they were non-gradable and pre-modified by items associated with non-gradable meanings. For example, the weather was absolutely beautiful. For example, it was beautiful to the highest possible degree. That suggestion is totally stupid. Implicit superlatives, often to express an extreme or maximum degree of a property. For example, dirty in an implicit superlative adjective is used instead of a more neutral adjective. Such adjectives are often used for special effect or exaggeration or in intensified responses and are often pre-modified by absolutely. Examples of implicit superlatives. More neutral adjective. I am very hungry. Implicit superlative. I am starving or I am ravenous. I am very cold. I am frozen or I am absolutely frozen. His room is very small. His room is tiny. His room is minute. Their house is very big. Their house is enormous. Their house is huge. Their house is vast. Their house is absolutely enormous, absolutely huge, absolutely vast. We got very wet. We got soaked. We got drenched. It was very hot in Nevada. It was boiling in Nevada. It was scorching in Nevada. It was absolutely boiling in Nevada. It was absolutely scorching in Nevada. The chicken was very dirty. The kitchen was very dirty. The kitchen was very dirty. The kitchen was absolutely filthy. Or the kitchen was filthy. The use of such implicit superlatives in responses is an important way of showing agreement in conversations. For example, oh, it's fantastic. It sounds absolutely amazing. Tasting food. Someone tasting food. Is it alright? Lovely. Yes, it's absolutely delicious. Fixed modifiers. Modifier plus adjective collocations. There are a large number of idiomatic expressions for indicating maximum degree, which consist of fixed modifier plus adjective collocations. These are very common in informal spoken language. They include bone dry, pure white, stone deaf, brand new, rock hard, wide awake, fast asleep, fast sound asleep, soaking wet, sopping wet, pitch black, pitch dark, stark naked. For example, her throat was bone dry. Very soon he was fast asleep. The flat was pitch dark, with all the blinds shut, blocking out the street lights and the moon. Comparative expressions. Similarly, there are a number of idiomatic comparative expressions which include as blind as a bat, as dry as a bone, as white as snow, as white as sheet, as deaf as a post, as heavy as lead. For example, you desperately fight to stay on your feet, but you feel weak and dizzy from your ordeal, and your legs are as heavy as lead. They were clutching each other in shock, and the woman particularly was as white as a sheet. In informal spoken language, the first is often omitted in these constructions. She went white as a sheet when they told her.